Hey guys, Armin is right behind me. He's on the 15-meter sole with his hydrofoil board, and it's about 4 knots. We're gonna see if he can make it happen or if he's gonna swim at Kipling, as we often do. It's 4.3 knots right now. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but Armin's really trying to make it happen. There it goes. Armin just did it in 4.4 knots. Amazing.
It's going, man. It's going.
Now, I know you might be thinking this does not look like fun. Yes, Armin managed in just over 4 knots of wind, but not without pumping both the board and the kite. It's safe to say that many kiters would rather wait for a little bit more wind.
So right now he's chosen a little bit of a smaller kite for light wind riding, the 15, and an excellent kite at that. The sole, it's almost, you can't go wrong with a sole. But the thing is, he's chose a huge front wing, huge, which means that he has a little less power up top and more power down here, which is why he's pumping the board a lot. He's an excellent rider. That is very impressive.
First beginning it was really low end, but now you can park the kite up in the air, so it's quite easy. But if you can't park the kite in the air, that's really technical. But size matters. The big hydrofoil helps a lot for sure, and the big kite too.
So, what is the minimum wind speed you actually need to enjoy your session? It took Armin about 4.4 knots to barely get going, but to ride comfortably, Armin needed twice the wind force, or in this case, 6.3 knots. You see, wind is exponential. 6.3 knots is twice as strong as 4.4 knots. The relationship between wind speed and the force exerted on the kite is non-linear, but exponential. Another example is that 20 knots is actually 4 times stronger than 10 knots of wind. Conveniently, 6 knots of wind works out to be a breaking point at which most foil kites can park in the air, which means you can get out and have fun instead of sitting on the beach. Just look at Armin, he has no trouble riding or performing transitions. He's even doing back rolls.
This is the hardest part, getting out to the wind, where you can actually loop the kite safely. The other hard part is just keeping the kite in the air.
Now, this is not to say you can go out in 6 knots of wind and ride with no trouble. All it takes is one mistake and you're swimming. On a twin tip, I need just under 9 knots to barely stay upwind on a small board, and I would have probably been fine on a door type board, but I didn't have it that day. Dennis has a big board and a huge kite, but he still couldn't get going in over 10 knots of wind while I was cruising comfortably. At this wind speed, Armin switched to a 9-meter kite and the foil boarder started to jump. While wind speed, gear selection, and skills all matter when it comes to light wind kiting, there are 2 other important factors that affect the outcome. One is wind direction. In our case, the wind being onshore during this session made getting out considerably harder. Second is your weight. Especially when it comes to twin tip riding, it makes a huge difference. I can usually get out on the water faster compared to heavier riders.
Alright, so it was about 10 knots when I went out just now, and I had no problem staying upwind. It was actually quite nice, but I think it's gone down a couple knots, so having a little bit more of a struggle staying upwind. And yeah, these are the struggles of low wind kiting. It's always a challenge, but at the same time, it's better than sitting at home watching TV. Okay, so I'm gonna try my foil board. I'm gonna go to the upper bay because there's quite a few guys in here, and I'm still quite the noob when it comes to foiling, so I just kind of want to be out of their way. Not super confident, but you know what? I'm gonna try because I couldn't make the twin tip work.
Do you think she has any chance?
A big one.
So Laurie is doing it with the hydrofoil. I mean, as you can see, even if the hydrofoil is, or the board is on the water, she get the performance already to be able to get going. And she's not struggling, no problem now. And just riding. Yeah, pump it. Great. You made it.
Alright, so for me personally, light wind kiting, if I'm on a twin tip, it's about 8 knots is like absolute minimum. And on a foil board today, I was going with 7 knots. However, my 15 was pretty much fully depowered, so I probably could go a little bit lower. But I guess we'll have to find out in the future. Alright, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye!